Awesome. So, as always, we begin with our club mission, which is that the mission of a Toastmasters club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self confidence and personal growth. So, as a reminder, please mute yourself unless you're speaking and rename yourself with the role that you will be filling today. I do believe we have a few open roles. Thank you, Sheila, for volunteering to be timer. It looks like we're still needing someone for the table topics evaluation and for the all counter grammarian. So do you have any volunteers? Which one are you volunteering for?
I'll volunteer for either one. I think I saw Kim's hand go up too. Kim, did you want to volunteer for something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, since I'm already the general evaluator, I could do the ah counter.
Okay. And
Okay.
then Karen, you'll do table topics evaluator.
Okay.
All right. Well, looks like we made it through all the administrative stuff, so we'll just hop right into the Toastmaster of the day, which, surprise, is also me. Um, so today we'll be running through our Toastmasters meeting, which again has three main parts. There will be the prepared speeches where members deliver speeches from their Pathways projects, the table topics, which is that impromptu speaking that really helps us think on our feet, and then the most important part, the evaluations, where we give constructive feedback and really support each other's growth. Um, Before we get started, I'll introduce some of the key role holders that will be helping us run our meeting today. So first, let's hear from our timer. The timer helps us develop time awareness, which is a crucial communication skill. So whether you're delivering a speech, leading a meeting, or giving a toast, timing matters. So Sheila, can you please explain your role and the rules?
So I'm going to be a little bit unorthodox. When you meet your minimum time requirement, I'm going to show my little Hulk ball. It's green. I'm going to and instead of yellow, I'm going to do this orange guy, and red is going to be, and that's I don't, just warning, you're close to red, and when you're over time, this little angry guy from up, I'm going to shake him around. So the way that you know is if you're overtime, it's not like anybody plays you off like the Oscars or you get a finger ticket or a nasty thing. It's just so that you're aware that, okay, maybe you talk too much and maybe you need to wrap it up. Anyway, that's all.
Thank you, Sheila. This is going to be a fun time today. And again, that timing helps us stay efficient and respectful of everyone's time, which is super important. Our next role is the general evaluator, which will be filled by Kim. This role is vital because it ensures the overall quality of our meeting and it introduces the evaluation team. So Kim, can you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Yeah, thank you. As the general evaluator, it's my role to assess the overall meeting, its structure, timing, and how smoothly roles were performed. I'll also lead the evaluation section by introducing the evaluation team, which will include myself as the counter grammarian. It will include Toastmaster Sheila Buswell as the timer. And since I am the counter grammarian, I'll explain that role too while I'm here. The purpose of that role is to help us decrease our use of filler words or inappropriate grammar or language, and also to recognize the use of excellent language, such as the word of the day or any other great vocabulary words. So that is my role today. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have two prepared speakers today, followed by our table topics master, Felice, who will lead the impromptu speaking section. But before we move forward, let's take a moment for any club business or announcements. So we do have an announcement. We have a new executive team going into the coming Toastmasters year, which starts in July. So Karen, do you want to introduce the new team and maybe give a little spiel about what you hope to accomplish in your tenure.
Thank you, Madam Outgoing President. So our new team, I'm going off of memory now, is I will be the president. Our Vice President of Education will be Jelena Verkler. Our Vice President of Public Relations will be Anthony Gore. Our Secretary, our Sergeant at Arms will be Kimberly. Our Secretary will be somebody who was.
That's me. I'm the
That's
secretary.
okay. That was.
I know that that's power. I get power to do things,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's not like, you know, that's what was important to me. I want power. That's all I'm saying.
You have power, but you don't have the cash. So our treasurer will be Toastmaster Bill Moylan. And have I forgotten any roles?
VP of membership.
VP of membership
Is Brittany.
is Brittany. Yes, Brittany. All right. I'm sorry I don't have those all memorized. I should have had it on a list in front of me. So that will be one of my goals, is to be more pulled together and ready for the meeting and efficient. One of my goals as president is to be a delegator and to be supportive of everybody else in their role. So I want to help everybody perform their role, but I don't want to be the person who does the role. So I'm going to really, it's my nature to just jump in and grab reins, but I don't want to do that this time. I want to be there to encourage and support each person to learn their role and help them do their role. So that's because leadership development, myself and yours, is part of what we do here at Toastmaster. Another goal of mine for this year will be to see the club develop further strength of membership numbers. And so I have not met with the new panel yet, but I want to meet with the new panel to discuss some things, some ideas of what we might do to help in that way. That might be membership drive type things, activities for us that could make our club more fun and exciting. I want to keep that vibe going strong into the future. And finally, it's always the job of leaders to find new leaders. So let's keep that in mind as we go through this club year, that we want to have new leaders to take our places next year. So we always have our eyes open to people to help encourage and develop new leaders. That's another part of leadership. Are there any questions or suggestions or anything, any feedback anyone wants to give me right now? All right.
I guess I do have a question, Karen. So you're going to call an executive committee meeting soon?
Yes, I'll call
we
an
can
executive
start
committee
the
meeting, and it will be
Club
on
success plan
Yeah.
process?
and what I want to do is meet on the off week of Tuesday that we're not meeting, but of course, this coming Tuesday, that's right before 4th of July, that's July 1st. So I don't know what people's availabilities are for July 1st, and then I have to check on vacations. So it might be postponed until we can all be available.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, with that, I return the leading of the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Next, we will have our word master introduce the word of the day. This was to be filled by Artemis, but she is not here today. That was an oversight on my part not to fill it, but rest assured I have come up with a word for us.
Oh.
So, word of the day helps us grow as speakers by challenging us to expand our vocabulary. So the way that we encourage each other to use this vocab word is to integrate it into what you're saying as you're speaking. And when you do use it, we will commemorate it with a little clap, and the counter grammarian will make note of your usage. So the word of the day today is dubious. Dubious is an adjective, hesitating or doubting, uncertain, of questionable value, truth, or reliability, suspicious or untrustworthy. So using that in an example sentence, she gave him a dubious look when he claimed he had finished all his work in 10 minutes. this, and I will put that information into the chat. And again, we are encouraged to integrate that into our speech today. So from word of the day, we'll move now into the heart of our meeting, which is our prepared speeches segment. Our first speaker today will be Bill Moylan. Bill is on the persuasive influence pathways, and wow, this is really exciting. He is on level 5, reflect on your path. So Bill, ever the studious, person, always completing these paths. Bill is giving a speech called Bill as the Persuasive Influencer, and he will review his lessons learned from completing the persuasive influence path. This speech will be 10 to 12 minutes and will be evaluated by Karen Baird. Bill as the Persuasive Influencer, get away.
Thank you very much. And as it was mentioned, I am now giving reflections on completing the persuasive influence path. I'm in the process of finalizing the level 5. I've completed 1 through 4. So this gives me a chance to look at what I've done and then looking forward. Now, first, it's my Toastmasters journey. With MetroMasters, it started a year ago in May. And at that time, I kicked off this particular path of persuasive influence. And so, level 1 and level 2, I'm the new kid on the block. If you've gone through this, level 1's the same for everyone. Level 2, a little bit different. Level 3, remodeling my kitchen, a little bit of a humorous bent. Level 4, leading in difficult situations. It was planning for success. I felt we should stretch and do presidents distinguished. And then the level 5, which I'm finalizing now and next month, it's Toastmasters at U of D Jesuit High School and Academy. And my plethora of dubious electives, I led a youth leadership at the Northville Library. I've done different presentations for the TLIs and a variety of outside speaking engagements. Now, looking at the accomplishments, and I'll just keep this within Toastmasters. One thing that I gave myself besides this particular path, it was to complete all 11 pathways paths a second time. And right now I am with this particular path and the innovative planning, I'm reaching that goal. So within our particular club, I started off with completing my level 5 in July, and then I did 1 through 4 for persuasive influence with MetroMasters. Some other things I completed, leadership development path with Visionary Virtual Voices. I was doing the innovative planning as I was helping 2 different clubs form, and one of them did get chartered. That I'm going to be assigning them the awards for innovative planning. And I'm in the process too for right now of finishing up completing my DTM award, my 20th DTM award, which will be assigned to MetroMasters in September. I needed to be a club officer, VP of Education. I hope you felt that I was up to the task. And then I needed to serve as a club mentor, and that's with public servants and advocates. They were chartered on March the 6th, so my 6 months plus would be completing in September. And along with other things, I mentioned the youth leadership. I'm also the advisor for the Gavel Club at Northville High School and a new one starting at U of D Jesuit High School and Academy. I am the sponsor at the Johnson Rec Center, as well as other activities in public speaking for Toastmasters. Now on reflections. They ask me how much I've learned and gained and reflect on how, this recent path and where I'm at now. Well, may I say this? I learned to be a persuasive influencer, I have to be me. And what about me? Well, I'm an associate adjunct professor at Lawrence Tech, and I am a professor emeritus at Eastern Michigan. And I have 3 rules for Dr. Bill's classroom. And I found that being that persuasive influencer, boy, I really put what I learned in this path to test in the classroom. Number 1 rule. Now, you don't have to write this down, but I'll send it to you. You get the grade you earn. You get the grade you earn. There is a grading rubric with all the assignments. Normally, when they question my grading, my first question is, did you read it? And number 2, if it's a group assignment, I expect others to do their part. So yes, you did yours, but you need to play nice and work with your teammates. So you get the grade you earn. Number 2, don't complain, don't explain. How many of you are familiar with the Ford Motor Company? Have any of you ever heard of Henry Ford II, Hank the Deuce? That was his comment when he was found one evening driving erratically with someone in his car who was not his wife. And when they asked, well, what is she wearing? And the policeman came back and said, a smile. Well, when he was then at the police station and the press was there, he replied, don't complain, don't explain. Basically, it's this. Admit your mistakes, take responsibility. No apologies, no excuses. So don't complain, don't explain. Rule number 3, particularly in the course I teach at Lawrence Tech, but also the one I taught this last semester at Eastern. We need to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. How does that work? Well, if we're talking about ethical dilemmas, like we need to fire somebody, or what should that decision be, which crosses many paths? Well, we have to keep perspective when having difficult discussions. We need to be humble, we need to listen more, and talk less. So learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. They sound good, but now getting the students to actually adhere to them. It was interesting to me how my persuasive influence path helped me to become that persuasive influencer. Oh, and besides, you notice the beard? I need it for a professor, you see. Comments? I don't have to know anything. I just have to be able to ask the right questions. The dubiousness of being the professor. Now, impact. What impact has Toastmasters had on my life? Well, the first thing I would say on this impact, Toastmasters is my hobby. It's fun learning. But in the Moylan household, there's been times where it didn't seem like a lot of fun. And it can be really trying when someone gets a little bit too deep into what they should be doing for fun. So the rule we have here is when Toastmasters stops being fun, I'm going to stop doing Toastmasters. Now, I don't want to do that, then find a way to make it fun. Number 2, it's listening and evaluate to motivate. These are two essential skills for the professor, for the consultant, for the trainer, my goodness, being a good husband. So listening, and anytime when I'm evaluating, do it in a positive, motivational way. And lastly, I get involved in all kinds of things. And people ask me, How did you ever get through a path in a year? Well, really, I completed 3 paths. You did what? Oh, yeah, I got 11 done the second time. How do you do it? Number one, it's leverage. And that is the different things I do outside. I find how Toastmasters can complement these various activities and associations. For instance, I'm active in different professional societies. Yes, I'm a rather good public speaker. When I speak, I don't give free speeches. They can either pay me or they can give me a written evaluation. And I always kind of bring Toastmaster friends along. My activities now with the Northville Rotary Club, different projects I'm doing. I found ways of the requirements for these projects. I'm blending them with the actual activity, and then with the presentations and the committees and what have you. So there are ways of doing it. You just have to be creative. Now, Bill's next steps. For our club, it was noted I'm going to be the treasurer for this coming year. So I'll be bugging all of you soon about your dues being due. Next, I'm working on my engaging humor path. I've completed level number 1. I'll be finishing level 2 on July the 10th. My level 3 speeches we done in conjunction with the youth leadership program being put at the Northville Regional Library. And the 4 and 5 will be coming after. And likewise, with the Rotary Club of Northville, in conjunction with Toastmasters, an activity I'm doing for my DTM project, for my 21st DTM. The DTM project will involve an organization called Rotaract. That's where we involved Rotary International with university students and young people in their 20s and early 30s. So more on that later because you'll be hearing all about it. Now, my new goals that I'm setting for myself. One, as I mentioned, I'm alluding to my DTM number 21, but I'm also looking ahead to my DTM number 22 and starting with that particular DTM project. I'm trying to come up with a good way of how to blend my Rotary activity with my Toastmastering. And lastly, and I've been asking a lot of people about this, particularly international, rumor has it there's a new path in Pathways, and I want to be on it. So friends, I really have to thank all of you for supporting me in completing this persuasive influence path. It's great, and it's going to be a great year coming up. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bill. I know I speak for everyone when I say you're such an inspiration, and no one would say that your commitment to Toastmasters is dubious. So next, we will move on to our second speaker, which is me. My speech today is on the motivational strategies pathway. I'm doing a speech with a purpose with the time of 5 to 7 minutes. This will be evaluated by Kimberly. And the title of my speech is The Distance Between Us. The Distance Between Us. Hi, everyone. Before I tell you a story that's changed me, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. I've always been a curious person, someone who finds joy in learning, especially when it comes to science. I remember the first time I looked into a microscope and saw cells dividing. It felt like I was discovering a secret universe. I knew then that biology was my calling. Working in the lab, making sense of the complex systems that make life work, it just clicked. I've poured myself into my studies, and I've been fortunate enough to thrive in them. Family is huge for me. I come from a big one. Lots of siblings, cousins, and chaos in the best way. I don't have children of my own yet, but I treasure my role as an auntie. I show up for my family and for my community. I try to be the one people can turn to. And I'm in love. A steady, safe love, a kind of love I've always dreamed about, the kind where we show up for each other every day, where home is wherever he holds me, that quiet, soul deep love that makes me wonder how I got so lucky. I also write, and I don't say that lightly. I write poems, real ones, the kind that make people stop and say, how did you put my feelings into words I didn't know I needed? Writing is how I try to make sense of this world. It's how I reach people. I love chocolate and cooking, and I laugh a lot. I have so many beautiful people in my life, and I feel so, so alive. But here's the thing. That's not me. That's Bisan. She's 22 years old, and she lives in Gaza. Everything I just described, the curiosity, the ambition, the family ties, the love, the laughter, that's her story. Or it was, before her life was reduced to rubble, before the blackout, before the hunger, before the bombs. Bisan is my friend, not me, but she could be. And that's what shakes me. We dream about the same things. We laugh at the same jokes. We love our people fiercely and show up for them in all the same ways. But while I move freely through the world, she can't. Her entire life is contained within the length of a single marathon. And while I've traveled the world, she's never been allowed to leave that 26-mile stretch. Our lives have taken such different paths, not because of who we are, but simply because of where we were born. And what's more devastating is that despite all she's endured, when I'm feeling low, Bisan checks in on me. She worries about me. That's who she is. She carries the weight of immense suffering and still manages to care deeply and selflessly for others. She has taught me more about love and courage than anyone I've ever met. And I can't bear the thought of a world without her in it. But right now, she is in grave danger. After 2 years of constant bombardment, displacement, and fear, she is now on the brink of starvation, calling out to humanity with the most human of questions. Don't I deserve to live too? And why has the world forsaken me? Because what is happening right now to Bisan, to her family, to 2 million people in Gaza is genocide. Not just tragedy, not just the cost of war, genocide unfolding in real time. Just this past week, starving people were promised food, only to be fired upon when they arrived, echoing the darkest chapters of human history, like when the Nazis promised showers and gave gas instead. Even reading her messages, I am struck by the echoes of Anne Frank's diary. The same raw humanity, the same quiet strength in the face of unthinkable violence. Anne wrote from the attic. Bisan writes from the rubble. Both young women full of dreams, of love, of life, even as the walls close in around them. And the terrifying truth is, we swore never again. But here we are, again. This time, we cannot pretend we didn't know. We do know, and history is watching. We were too late to save Anne, but we are not too late to save Bisan. Not yet. So I'm asking you, begging you, please do not look away. You don't have to do everything, but you must do something. Even the smallest action matters. Because silence in moments like this, it's not neutral. It's a choice to side with the oppressor. And for people like Bisan, that silence echoes louder than than any bomb. So please, let your voice be the sound that pierces the silence. Let your courage be the force that cuts through the noise. Let your humanity be the light that illuminates this darkness. For Bisan, for Anne, for every life that deserves to be lived, so that when history asks where you stood, your answer is clear. I showed up. I spoke out. I refused to let my silence fracture the bond of our shared humanity. Thank you. That was a little bit of an emotional speech for me, so thank you for bearing with it. Now we'll move on to a little lighter portion of our meeting with our table topics master. Is our extemporaneous speaking, which will be led by Felice.
Wow, what a speech. So the table topics today, okay, let me restart. Good evening, everyone. I am the table topics master for the day. And I want to take a happy turn for all of us today. The theme today is gonna be summer vibes. So I do really appreciate the speech, but it's a unexpected connection. Okay, so I have some questions here listed today. They will be mostly open-ended, and it's going to be memories, feelings, or some simple moments about summer. Summer means something special for everyone. And yeah, let's have some fun and see what sunshine takes us at this time. And I have 16 questions, and each one of you, please give me a number from between 1 to 16 for which question you want. And I'm gonna call for the people that I see on my screen. Okay. Toastmaster Sheila Buswell.
Ooh, Felice, number 7.
Number 7, how has your experience of summer changed over the years?
Ooh, when I was a kid, I totally thought about school ending and not being in school. And when I was a kid, I couldn't watch TV unless I got straight A's. So I didn't watch a lot of TV unless I snuck it. And during the summer, I watched a lot of TV and I enjoyed the air conditioning. And as I've gotten older, I just complain about the heat. And it seems like I don't have the same enjoyment because I don't have that finish line that's reached in May or June. I think about just the inconvenience of the season and not enjoying where I'm at. Anyway, that's what I think. Thanks. That was a great question, Felice. Thanks.
Okay, next will be Toastmaster Kim Baird Cooley. Can you give me a number between 1 and 16 and not 7?
Oh, sure. 12.
Number 12, what's the most unusual or unexpected thing you've done on a summer day?
The most unusual thing I've done on a summer day was last year. I was up north in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I always try to do one different thing when I'm on vacation each year. And I try to get a little brave and be a little bit of a daredevil. So last year, what I did is I jumped off of a cliff face into Lake Superior. It took me approximately 5 minutes to rouse up the courage to be able to do so. And I attempted to do it a second time. However, my legs were not in cooperation with my brain and would not allow me to do so, as they turned to jelly when I attempted to jump a second time. So that is an unexpected thing that I have done on a summer day. Thanks.
That is quite an adventure. I can't imagine doing that. All right, Toastmaster Karen Baird. What is your number?
I'll go with number one.
Number one. What is your favorite summer memory from childhood?
Fellow Toastmasters, I was not raised in Michigan. I was raised in Baltimore, but every year my parents would take that road trip back to Michigan where they were born, and we would spend a week at my grandparents' shack. Did you notice I didn't say cottage? To call it a cottage would be very dubious. This shack had a pump for water, cold water. It had tar paper on the outside. It had 2 rooms. The main room had a couple of beds, a kitchen table, a potbelly stove, and a regular refrigerator. So that was like, ooh, we were really roughing it then. And we would spend every day playing in the field, going to the lake, having Dairy Queen for dessert. And to us, that was the best vacation that we could possibly imagine, in that smelly, leaky tar paper shack. That was our vacation dream place. And we looked forward to it every year. So, Madam Table Topics Master, that was a great memory.
Thank you. And next, Toastmaster Jelena Werkler.
Can I do number 3?
Number 3. What's your favorite summer tradition or holiday?
My favorite summer tradition or holiday. I'm not sure if this actually counts as summer. This might be the first day of summer. It's typically the day that they open the pools, which is Memorial Day weekend. But since my 18th birthday, I have gone to the Indianapolis 500 every year with my father. I am not particularly a car person, but my dad is. He's a mechanic and he just loves it. And so when I was little, he would always go and he'd always bring me back a souvenir, and I couldn't wait for the day that I could go with him. So when I turned 18, he started bringing me with him. And over the years, we've brought friends of mine. We've met up with my cousins. We've met new people there. But it's been such a fun tradition for us. It's something that we do, just the 2 of us. I'm not sure how many children and parents have a tradition that they hold just between the 2 of them. It just makes it so special. But that has been something that I have looked forward to every year, and I feel really brings me into close connection with my dad.
Thank you for sharing that story. And the next will be Toastmaster Samara Underwood. You're on mute.
Okay, I couldn't hear what you were saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Can you say again?
No, I didn't hear what you were saying.
I'm sorry. Your voice is not very clear on my end. Is that
I just heard my name and I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, so it's table topics. I have questions. Now it's like 2 through 16, and you can give me a number and I'll tell you what the question is.
Okay, 3.
3 is already taken. I'm sorry.
Oh.
3, 7, 12 are taken. And 1. So
5.
which one? 5? Okay, here we go. Are you more of a beach, mountain, or city vacation person in summer?
Oh, I would say beach. I just went on a vacation last week with my daughters. So we went to Cozumel. We went to Cozumel, Mexico, Jamaica, Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and Grand Cayman Islands. So I love the beach. We went to on each island. We went to a beach. So we had a great time, and I'm definitely a beach person. I haven't really explored the mountains, but I do love the outdoors. So I can easily uh, be a mountain person if I had that type of experience. But so far, beach, beach, beach for me.
That is a very summer experience. Mm, Thank you. And next, Toastmaster Bill Moylan,
Number 9.
number 9 here. What's a small summer moment that brings you unexpected joy? Like the smell of sunscreen or the sound of sprinkler? Something very small about summer.
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. Fellow Toastmasters, this dubious question of something simple or small that reminds me of summer. I would say it's the smell of freshly cut grass. Where I'm living now in Northville, we have a nice lawn, and I now have a lawn service. Where I lived before in Farmington Hills, we had 1.9 acres. 1.5 acres were not cut, but harvested. I would harvest the lawn. It would take me a whole day of cutting, part riding, part pushing, and with the edging and sweeping and blowing, it would take. But just that simple smell of freshly cut grass. Now, also, it's a good memory. But not such a good memory was freshly cut grass. My first summer when I graduated from high school, I worked on landscaping 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. And boy, did I get my fill of cutting grass and doing yard work. I was really good at it. Didn't mean I really enjoyed it. But then being able to do it at my own home, just my home, not all the others. It really made it quite a memory. So freshly cut grass, that's my special smell of summer. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you for sharing that story. And Toastmaster Anthony Gore, I saw that you joined our meeting. Will you be able to come to one of the questions?
Yeah, I would take question number 2.
Question number 2. Describe your ideal summer day from morning to night.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. So, fellow Toastmasters, good evening. Table topic master, um, describe a perfect summer day from the start of the day to the end of the day. I will wake up early in the morning, cooking breakfast, pancakes, eggs, sausage, turning on the news, enjoying coffee and orange juice around 7 a.m. Moving until that early afternoon, I would play golf, play a 9-hole round of golf, and go somewhere like Johnny's on a Lake in Belleville, Michigan. It's an excellent restaurant right off the water, and enjoy lunch. Moving forward around early afternoon, I would get on the grill and grill for the family. Um, Maybe have a few drinks along the way as well, and enjoy the weather. I would keep my foot up and watch some baseball at the tail end of the night. So that would be a perfect summer day for me from the start of the day to the close of the day. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing the story. And that will conclude our table topics today.
Thank you, Felice. Those were amazing questions that really helped us all open up and talk about different parts of our life and why summer is such a fun time. Thank you to all of our speakers. We'll now move into the evaluation portion of our meeting led by our general evaluator, Kimberly Baird Cooley.
Hello, everybody. We are now moving into the general evaluation portion of the meeting. Our speech evaluators for today are Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird, who will be evaluating speech number 1, and myself evaluating speech number 2. Let's start with our speech evaluations. Please welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan. We heard about your reflections on your path. Well, this is great for inspiration for all of us, because all of us need to get to the point where you are now, at the end of the path, where we can reflect upon our accomplishments. You gave very good introduction and summary. You gave excellent explanation of what the goals were. And then you gave itemized items. So these were all supporting of your main message. I personally would have liked seeing a list as well as just hearing about the goals, because that would help me keep up and keep abreast of what you accomplished in what order. I think that would have been good. I thought the graphics were very good. Aside from the fact that I didn't see a list, I thought the graphics were very good and made the presentation much more interesting. And I like being able to see the graphics displayed behind you as we would continue to see you, as opposed to off to the side like is often done when screens are shared. I liked how you gave you applied the persuasive influence lessons to your professional and personal life. You gave us the application as a professor, as also in your personal life, how it is something that is not just a hobby, but it is also something important to you that you evaluate to motivate and listen, and that you leverage your Toastmaster activities. Good lessons for all of us. And I found it very interesting that you are working on your 21st and 22nd DTM. I'm just working on my second one, and I'm just amazed at your accomplishment over even over the period of time that you've been part of our club. Fantastic, very inspirational. So to sum up, I thought your speech was very well organized, beautifully presented. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more supportive graphic so that I could understand what check marks I have to meet when I'm trying to accomplish the same. And overall, great speech. And I'm excited that you're part of our club and celebrate that you have made this accomplishment, and look forward to your continued inspiration as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that thoughtful evaluation. Next, I will be evaluating Jelena's speech, The Distance Between Us. And I'm gonna try to keep it together. So, this is a really good speech. I also know Bisan, so you really did a great job of making that connection of the personal level of sharing all of the interests that you have. You described yourself, your interests, your family. When you said, "and I'm in love," you sounded very smitten. And I know that you love your husband, so I didn't expect that you were talking about anybody else either. And then as soon as you said that that's not you, it's Bisan, I knew immediately who you're talking about. And you did a really beautiful job of describing her light that she brings into the world and the devastation that's happening in Gaza right now. Your description of Anne writes from the attic and Basan writes from the rubble, that was really poetic language. And the call to action of silence is a choice to side with the oppressor. And for Basan, that silence echoes louder than any bomb. That was also really evocative. So you did a really great job of subverting our expectations of what the speech was about, which I think will draw people in to the speech. You did a great job of describing Basan and drawing the parallels between the past historic events and the events that are currently happening to hopefully make that connection for people who might not see it now. One thing I think that could have been slightly better is your positioning in the screen at the very beginning. You were very close. So I could your top of your head was cut off a bit. That's just something to consider, but it's really not that important in light of what the message was. You used physical gestures effectively. You felt very comfortable and you did get a little bit emotional, but who wouldn't on this topic? Thank you for bringing it up. And I appreciate you sharing that with the group.
Thank you. And I apologize to everyone to drop such a heavy message on you, and it's unexpected, but I thought it would be a little more powerful if it hit like that. And I think something that's going to be really important as we move forward, given the current state of things, is going to be using our voices to speak out for what is right. And I think Toastmasters makes us more equipped at doing that than the average person. So I would really encourage all of you to find your voice, find what you care about, find your community, and speak out. Thank you.
Okay, we are now done with our evaluations for the prepared speaking portion. I believe that next we move, let me reference them in the agenda. We will now move on to our table topics evaluation, and that role today is being filled by Toastmaster Karen Baird. I'd like to point out that the table topics evaluation is unique to our club. It was a suggestion made by one of our members, Felice, Toastmaster Felice Wong, and it's been really beneficial. This segment lasts for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I'm going to jump right in, and what I'm trying to do today is have specific comments for each speaker. So Sheila, when you spoke about how summer has changed for you, I'm going to say that initially, when you were talking about when you were a child, you had some really good energy and excitement and enthusiasm in your voice. And then as you started talking about as an adult, it's not as much fun as it once was. And then, your energy level also dropped off. So I think that the combination gave you married the two. Okay, so you showed us your enthusiasm and then your lack of enthusiasm by matching that energy level. Kim, your unexpected activity. I felt that you gave us a long build up to that jumping off the cliff. And so it's almost like we were climbing along with you until you got to that point, and then you jumped off the cliff into that freezing water of Lake Superior. So it was a build up to a surprise. And then you also had some humor in the end, speaking about the jelly legs that wouldn't let you do it again. So I like that. I like that you were able to do that build up to the big surprise reveal moment. And I thought that was very effective. Jelena, talking about the tradition of going to the Indy 500 with your dad. I will want to focus this time again on the energy level I could see the happiness and the enthusiasm on your face, the love you have for your dad, the enjoyment of those moments. So since we're all about communicating, you are definitely communicating that through every part of your speech and your face, your expressions, and also a big contrast to your speech. Samara, going to the beach versus the mountains. I saw that you made your mind up very quickly that it was beach, 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 baby. And you gave us good specific examples of the type of beaches that you've gone to, how much you've enjoyed it. So that's a good way to answer any question on the fly, is when you give some very specific examples. But then you went beyond and gave us the contrast of the mountains. So you didn't forget about the mountains. You didn't only focus on what you like. You told us about your thoughts on the mountains as well. I love it when I hear somebody answer the question in full, because so many times people will only focus on the part of the question that they want to answer. I see that all the time when people are getting interviewed. Let's move on to Bill. Bill, the small joy is the smell of the grass. So Bill, you also gave us the pros and the cons, but you kept it within the same subject, the smell of the grass. How much you enjoy the smell of that smell of the grass brings you joy when it's your own plot of earth. But when you had to do it for 60 hours a week, it wasn't so much fun. And who can blame you? I imagine if you were as thin-haired then as you are now, you would have had a sunburn on top of your head, like I get now. I have to wear a hat all the time. But I enjoyed the contrast that you gave us. So you really expanded beyond the first question of the joy, but you also gave us the counterpart. Anthony, ideal day. You gave us a lot of very good, specific information about your ideal day. You were very specific about the type of food that you enjoy making for the family, the type of activity. It was almost like painting a picture for us. I could imagine you there in the kitchen whipping up those pancakes. I could imagine you on that golf course. I could see you grilling and sitting back afterwards with a couple of beers, watching the game. So you gave a lot of very good details. So that's a very good way to answer a question, is to make sure that you give a complete answer with lots of supporting details, which you did. I liked the approach that you took. Overall, for everybody who spoke, I think there's been an improvement over time on the use of filler words, but I'm still hearing some filler words. When we are speaking on the fly, it's a lot easier to fall back into bad habits. So we want to keep our ears open for that. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much for the table topics evaluation. We will now move into the counter grammarian, which is me. And again, this is to recognize the word of the day, to draw attention to our use of filler words, and to complement any wonderful uses of vocabulary words. Bill, you had one so, and you had 5 uses of the word now as a transition word. And I had to listen really hard for that. Myself, I counted 2 ums and a so. I suspect there were more. Sheila, you had 1 2 so's, 2 likes, 1 anyway, and 2 ands that were connecting 2 thoughts that could have been separate sentences. Jelena, you spoke a lot this meeting, so it would make sense that there's more opportunity for filler words. You had 8 uses of ums or ahs, 7 so's, and 2 unnecessary buts. Toastmaster Karen, you had 9 ums, 10 so's. That was all I got for you. Toastmaster Samara. Okay. You had 5 ums and 2 so's, which is very good as this is only your first official meeting. So good job. Toastmaster Felice, you had 2 ums, 1 like, 1 and, that's it. Great job. Toastmaster Anthony Gore, you had 9 ums and only 1 so, but you did have 2 you knows. So watch out for we all do the when we're talking fast. I noticed that none of us draw out the it's really quick. You go, and then we move on. Word of the day, dubious. Bill used it 3 times. Jelena used it 1 time. And Toastmaster Karen used it 1 time as well. Particularly nice vocabulary words. Bill used the word plethora and alluding. Karen used the word abreast and leverage. And Sheila used the word snuck, which I felt was very evocative for describing sneaking watching TV. That is it for the counter, and we will move on to our timers report, which is being filled by Toastmaster Sheila Boswell.
I had to take myself off mute because my dog wanted to play with her toy. I was really excited to use my Angry Up guy that's red, and I didn't get to. Everybody stayed on time. So, yeah. Bill, you were close at 12 minutes, but you were right on 12 minutes. I didn't even get to pick the guy up. Jelena, 6:24. Perfect. I did 1 minute 8 seconds on my counter. Kim, 1 minute 4. Karen, 1 minute 22. Jelena, 1 minute 16. Samara, 52:63, 52 seconds and 63 seconds. 52 seconds. Bill was 1 minute 43. Anthony was 1 minute 30. And for the evaluation section, Karen was 2 minutes and 43. Kim was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Karen was 4 minutes and 59 seconds. And Kim, you were 2 minutes and 17 seconds. But I just keep track of that because I had it going. But you don't have dictation over like how many people show up and how many ums. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. I get to keep track. But again, Angry Up guy from the Happy Meal and my sister got in, I don't know, California.
Thank you very much. We will now move into my general evaluation of the meeting. The meeting did start on time. We had a couple of roles that we had to fill unexpectedly, but we did that quickly. The energy of the meeting was warm and welcoming. We recognized our new officers and our current officers that will remain for the end of this year, which I guess today is the last day. We did not have any guests to acknowledge or welcome, but we recognize that we did not have any guests to acknowledge or welcome, which shows me that people are thinking about that. I believe that our role transitions were smooth and respectful. I feel that each segment did fulfill its purpose, and members were generally prepared for their roles. Although some of the members were asked to fulfill a role at the very beginning of the meeting, so there's no way to prepare because when you're asked 2 minutes before the meeting starts, you can't really prepare for that. I appreciated our meeting. I thought it was a good meeting overall. This concludes my general evaluation, and I return control to the Toastmaster of the day, Madam President Jelena Berkler.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. We will now open the floor to any comments, questions, or feedback.
I just have a quick comment. I haven't done any training, obviously, for the leadership thing, and I'm going to participate in it. But I don't want to waste everybody's time. But is there somebody who, if I plan to take the training as soon as possible, like probably it's given on Saturday virtually. Is there somebody I could reach out to that wouldn't mind me like bugging them about like if I have any questions, follow up about how we do it?
Sheila, it's not bugging. Any of the club officers you can ask.
Okay. Thank you.
Much rather have somebody ask than have them not, just struggle or drop the ball.
I just wanted to give kudos to the prepared speeches today. They're very, very, very impactful. Jelena and Bill, kudos to you guys today.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a, I guess, general question. So sometimes I want to, I have some questions I want to discuss around given presentation or how to do these kind of things. Is there a place that I can actually discuss these, or is this the time that we ask this kind of question? So I know we have the base camp. It basically it's very structured information. It tells you how to get ready for certain things. But I guess my question is more like when I actually it's more I think I need a Q&A section kind of thing. So yeah, I want to ask about.
Felice, I think you bring up another great idea. You're good on ideas. Why don't we add this open forum at the end of our meetings for the coming time? And so you can ask the questions about presentation, preparation, uh, speaking outside, whatever it might be. Sheila has some questions as a club officer. We could make that as just an open forum, and you can put the question out, and you got quite a plethora of things. Now, you might get some dubious replies, but okay. But still, I think that's a great idea that we can add to the meeting at the end. Kind of make it like an open forum if anyone has that. So you can.
If I can make a suggestion, I think that's a great idea, but I think we should do it after the official adjournment of the meeting so
Yes.
that any guests who don't want to stay on for it are, totally welcome to sign on.
Great idea, Karen. So on this point, our incoming VP of Education and I, as the outgoing VP of Education, are going to be setting up the first series of things. So let's try that. We'll still have the gavel at 7:15 to close the meeting. But Jelena, what we can do is kind of add that time like afterwards, and let's work with that. So good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you have any questions that you wanted to talk about right now?
I do. Do we wait until we finish all the agendas?
I think we're done.
Okay. So the question I wanted to talk about is how much information you really put into the slides presentation. Because what I see a lot from my own background, I studied math in school and I work with data at work. So all the presentations, professional presentations I've seen and prepared are filled with information. So usually like on the page of a slide, it's full of words or equations or whatever, charts. And I see that sometimes I see like other people preparing their presentation, they have very few things. Like Bill, I've seen you have only one word on each page, that kind of style also. So I guess I'm questioning this for a while because I know most of the time when you put like two paragraphs on a page. Nobody is gonna read it during the presentation. But still, a lot of people do that. Like, I want to hear how you think about it, and yeah, what's the balance for that?
Well, first of all, what I learned from a fellow Toastmaster, he called it the rule of seven. And seven includes the heading, but then you don't put on more than 6 lines below that of text. And what you do is you use a keyword or keywords or pictures like I did. Because Sheila and I reviewed my presentation. She liked the idea that my face was interspersed in the show piece. And then I had all that text. I said, gee, that's not going to work. Let's get rid of that. So we did a little editing there, didn't we, Sheila? But the idea of the audience, and when someone presents and they got basically their script, I don't like that. Because fine, nothing, having a script that you're reading from is not wrong, but don't give me that. Give me something that I can relate to. And on that. Now, if it's a technical presentation, you could still have those key words, but make it a handout with the details. So, that they can take that away with them. But filling a slide with words, it gets lost. And so, rule of seven, look for keywords and pictures to connect. And Sheila has her hand up that she needs to unmute to tell us.
I just
There
heard
you go.
this today, so I wanted to share. Somebody said, I've never been in a presentation and said, I wish there was more words on that slide, or I wish there was more slides. So I'm an engineer and I have experienced boredom by PowerPoint so many times. And I think I presented at my master's thesis at the Science and Age of Experience. Everybody should be really impressed. But like the guy in front of me, I would freaked myself out because he was from the Sorbonne, but he was so boring and dry. And he had word vomit on his slides. And I think I didn't even prepare slides, right? I had cool pictures because I did an FEA analysis of a human spine. Cool, right? So I just put the picture up there of like the video going over and over again. And then I talked. And then I won an iPad. It was actually pretty cool, but I like freaked out because of this guy's dossier. But really, I think it's good to be a good speaker. But the big thing I learned today was somebody said, I've never experienced a slide where I was like, I wish there was more words on that slide, or I wish there was more slides. And oh my God, that's so true. I'm done. Thanks. What Bill said.
Mhm.
Fully. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say this is all great advice. Design principles is actually like a science. So there's science behind like this shape makes me feel something, this color makes me feel something. So thinking about intentionality in your slides is actually quite complex when you get down to it. But I'm actually taking this course through Blue Cross right now. It's called Design Principles. It's run by Liz's team. And each week you go through kind of different principles of design of how you should be like making your slides. So our homework this week was to take slides that we've done before and then like make them better using some of the information that we were given. So I actually have so many materials of how to make slides good, so I can send those over to you.
Yeah, that sounds like a good suggestion. Yeah.
I'm going to say my rule of thumb is that anything that you put up in slides should be a framework or a support of what you're going to say. I never want to include the details of my information up on the slide. So sometimes pictures, diagrams, the fewer words, the better, because the words should be coming from you. When you have all the words up on this, I feel when I have to read words up on the slide, I feel like you should have just emailed that to me, and then I could have avoided this meeting. So in order for me to feel like you made it worth my time to listen to your presentation, then I want you to add the meaning, and you have to make it meaningful to me by what you're saying, not by the visuals I'm looking at, or not by a lot of words that I'm looking at, or a lot of data. Oh, the only thing I hate worse than looking at a lot of words is looking at a lot of data. Because then I'm not just reading, I'm reading and analyzing.
I do put data in my presentation. I'll take them out.
No, don't do that necessarily.
There are ways to tell stories with data
To
that
just
are
maybe condense it into a way so that you're adding the meaning to the data.
So, Felice, I don't know, like it sounds like you're talking about PowerPoints, but I present a lot at work and I use Tableau for my presentations a lot of the time. And so one thing that we've done in our Tableau dashboard, which you could probably do with a PowerPoint, is we have, because it's a lot of super complex data. So rather than bog down the screen with a ton of information, we've made things hoverable. So if you don't know the definition or the equation of something, but you don't want to clutter up your slide with it, maybe you could make something in the notes section or a hover over. So that way people can still have that context if they might miss it. Otherwise, I don't know how specialized your work is. So like they might need that information later if they, if they're only hearing you speak about it the one time, they're like, wait, what was that equation? And how did that interact with this data set? Like you could include that in notes so that they can have the context for later. And that works really well in my experience.
Yeah, thank you.
Sheila has her hand raised again.
I just had a follow-up question for Jelena. I know that it was the design and the layout, but in general, when you review your old slides, do you end up just changing stuff completely, or do you take stuff away? I mean, like generally speaking, with a broad brush, what do you do?
generally what I find. Those old movies where they're like enhance, enhance, enhance. I find myself remove, remove, remove. Like make this more simple. Like make less on the page. That's what I find. Like looking back at some of my old slides, I was like, oh my God, I needed them to know everything on this slide, and I need to trust that I can articulate that to them. So I just very bare bones it, and like even with graphs and stuff, like you can remove the title, you can remove the legend. Like if you're gonna talk about it in your bullet, you don't need it in two places. So just kind of simplifying. It's funny, I've been doing some larger presentations at work that are to the employee resource networks, which is I get to talk about stuff that's not work, which is really fun for me. But I'll send over my slides for review, and I'm like, you're really not gonna get it if you just look at my slides. Like it's like I'll need to send you my script because you're gonna read these bullets and be like, what do these mean? Which is exactly how people should be feeling because they need you then to tell them.
Agreed.
Good discussion.
Thank you all. Yeah, thank you all for the suggestions.
I want to add something else too. When I first joined Toastmasters, I used to struggle a lot with how much details to put in my speech and how to figure out what to put in versus not to put in with my speech. And so what I've come up with is I don't want to put any more than 3 main points in any speech. No matter how long or short it is, I don't want to put more than 3 points in it because at 3 points, the audience has a much better ability to remember what you're talking about. And you can have a better chance of making it meaningful by just focusing on less main points. Anyone want to talk about that or think that that's a good bad idea?
I agree. Keep it simple.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Okay. And another thing is let's say I really have 10 points that I want to make. Instead of making 10 points, I'll make 3 main points and take those 10 points and make them support one of the 3 main points.
Mm.
And that way it's still organized in a way that's easy for the audience to stay along with me.
I have a business accountability partner, and she has these t-shirts that say, all you need is less. And I think that is what you're saying. Like it's more impactful the less you have. If you get up and you have all sorts of data on the slide or all sorts of words, it's not information. It's just words. And you gloss over and you don't absorb it, you don't remember it. But if you keep it to 3 bullet points, or you make sense of the data, make it information, keep the graphs, you don't put the information twice, you just highlight what you need to highlight in bold or whatever, say it. It's more meaningful and people will retain it better. That's all. I'm done talking. Thanks.
Mhm.
With data particularly, I know sometimes we as analysts have all these different things that we've pulled and we're like, oh, this tells us so much information, like I need to share all these. I think for each slide kind of have like, what is the most important thing? What do I want people to take home from this slide, and focus everything around that point? Not bogged down trying to tell them 5 different things. You can just make it another slide. Like if you can split them up.
Yeah, so I'm really thinking about what Karen was talking about earlier. If we have 10 points, and this is actually a true thing that I recently had to handle. I had like 13 points and I broke them down into 3 categories. So would you think it's better if I just put them on 3 different pages? But they will all have the same structure and everything. For each point, there's, pros and cons and some comments on it. Or do you think if I just have the 3 main points in bolded words in there, and then the other things are very small, that if you want to read the information, you can read, but then if you don't, you can just read the 3 big points. Do you?
I would keep it to the rule of 3. And you can break it that way. People need the visual and mental break.
Mhm.
And I think Sheila's right, less is more. Another, if you've got a lot of information to cover and you really don't have, definitive answers, that happens. How do you do it? You simply ask questions. And you're saying, we got to consider this, and you got to consider that. And what about this? You don't give them, this is the answer, because you don't have the answers. It's just a whole new market, a whole new piece, a whole new thing looking at. I've been to too many presentations on artificial intelligence, and they're saying, well, what's the answer? And my answer is, you want to have intelligent assistance. That's what AI is about. It's to help you, not to do it for you. And so, you're giving it back to that. And there's ways of making that impactful. I would say most importantly, Felice, that's what Toastmasters is for. So I'm looking forward to you giving us with your really heavy duty technical presentations. I have no idea what the engineering is going to be. That's okay. We're just going to tell you, how did it come across? How can you make it more connecting with your audience and understanding that that it's about you bringing your message, what you have, and having the audience and having it resonate with them.
Another thing I do with work presentations, if I know I'm giving it to an audience that might be mixed in their technical levels, I will put a little footnote that says more detail can be found in the appendix. So if you have a bunch of stuff like you think is important, but only certain people are really going to care about it, just put that in the appendix.
Yeah.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I am planning to give a technical speak at one point. I need more time to prepare, but I would hope to.
Sure.
Well, if you ever give a presentation at work, you can invite me to the meeting and I'll evaluate you.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Good.
My work is like it's mostly I do a very, very detailed data information like the presentation I give at work mostly. So I'm very struggling to find a way to bring that to Toastmaster because it will be without the context, it won't be meaningful for anyone here. So I may not be able to give a like work-like presentation, but I'm thinking some technical related topics I could talk about.
Mhm.
But there are so many things I want to say, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, I have to fit them in there.
Well, you can also break your presentation into a series of 5 to 7 minute vignettes. You
Yeah.
mentioned you're going to go on 3 and look at it doing it 3 mini speeches that you put together. And it's a way of practicing. You can
Mhm.
practice a chunk with us.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the great suggestions.
And just quickly, looking ahead to our next meeting on July the 8th, Jelena and I are going to be putting together the structure for going forward for the coming 6 months. I did get the feedback that we like the idea of the VP of Ed assigning speakers. We'll do it alphabetical order. Now I need to have a show of hands. Do you want it alphabetical by your last name or your first initial?
I don't care.
You don't care. Okay. Jelena, you're the boss. You get to decide. But
Do first initial.
first initial, very good. Let me put something together and send it to you and see how it resonates with you, and then we can structure the meetings that way.
Sounds good.
When I
Good.
look ahead at the calendar on the July 1st, I recollect that I have something I'm already doing that evening away from home, so I won't be available to have the first officers meeting. So how about if I target the 15th? Is that okay? Or do we want to do off on a different day? 15th, okay?
Not for me.
For me.
My Tuesdays are filled.
Oh, your Tuesdays are filled. Okay. What other day of the week works good? For me, Thursdays are pretty good.
Okay.
Are Thursdays good for other people?
So you're looking at the 17th?
Maybe we could do it a little, or maybe we could do it on the 10th. Let me think about that for a second.
Use the
I'll
9th.
let you know. I'll let you know because I'm not sure. I want to look at my calendar on my phone, which I don't have with me right now.
Okay. Very good. Why don't you send out some possible dates and times and we'll go from there.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I have
great
nothing
meeting,
more.
everyone, and thank you for a great program year. And we'll be in touch. Our next meeting is July the 8th. Jelena and I will be putting together the speaker schedule, and we'll get that out as soon as we can. Have a good evening.
Great. All right. Thanks. Good night, everybody.